The holiday of Purim is coming up, and one of the best parts about the holiday of Purim are the Hamantaschen, right? Those triangular shaped cookies filled up with whatever you like. I heard Rabbi Pam say that she likes apricot. I'm a big fan of chocolate, and I also like lemon curd. That's very nice inside of a very fancy Hamantaschen, and some sprinkles and all of those things. Well, I have to tell you a story about a town, a very small town, very high up in the mountains, a very long time ago. And in that town, everyone was a Hamantaschen baker. Everyone in that town loved to make Hamantaschen. Everyone in that town had a special Hamantaschen recipe. They put special fillings in them. They made special dough, and everyone had their specialty, and they loved to celebrate Purim. And for several months prior to Purim, they would plan their Hamantaschen baking. And then in the weeks before Purim, you could smell the Hamantaschen as you walked through town. It was a great place to live, let me tell you. Except for 1 year. 1 year, the Hamantaschen just wouldn't bake. They wouldn't bake. Like, sometimes they came out underdone. Sometimes they came out so burnt you couldn't even tell that they were triangular shaped and had 3 corners. And sometimes the fillings would flop out and nothing. These were Hamantaschen bakers extraordinaire, and their Hamantaschen just wouldn't bake. And every baker in town was so worried, so concerned, so unsure. What is happening? My Hamantaschen won't bake. And they started to talk to each other, and they all realized they were all having the same problem. And so they all ran down the street. As soon as everyone realized that everyone was having the same problem, they ran to the rabbi's house. And the rabbi was having her own problem with her Hamantaschen. Same thing. They wouldn't stick together. They wouldn't open. They kept opening. They swished up. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. When all the bakers in town came to her house, she said, "Oh my goodness, we're all having the same problem. I know what to do, because we have to celebrate Purim. We have to eat our Hamantaschen to remember Queen Esther and Mordecai, and to boo that guy. We'll say his name later. And we have to have our Hamantaschen. So I have a plan. I think I have a plan. So everybody go home, and I think I can work this out." The rabbi went inside of her house. She sat down at her kitchen table. She put her hand on her head, and she focused. And she thought. She moved her hat up a little bit. She focused, and she thought, and she thought, and she focused. She focused all of her energy on the king of the Hamantaschen souls. And she sat at the table, and she breathed in, and she breathed out. And then she started to call his name. "Gemel Kronos," she called. "Gemel Kronos," she called. That was his name, by the way. And then she called his name a third time. "Gemel Kronos," and pop! A little tiny Hamantaschen-shaped man popped up on her table, and she said, "Gemel Kronos, I need to talk to you." And he said, "You called me, Rabbi?" And she said, "Yes, I did. We have a huge problem here in our town. Your Hamantaschen souls, they won't go into our Hamantaschen, and we can't make our Hamantaschen, and we aren't going to be able to celebrate Purim." And the Gemel Kronos said, "Yep, we're done." She said, "What do you mean you're done?" He said, "We're done. We're done. We're tired of being called for the bad guy, for that hey man. We're tired of that. We can't stand that. We're done. We're done. We're done." And she said, "Oh, okay. I need to talk to all the souls. Bring them to me." And Gemel Kronos said, "Good luck with that, but okay." So he called all the Hamantaschen souls, and they crowded into the rabbi's kitchen. And she said to them, "Souls, little Hamantaschen souls, I know that you don't want to be named for the bad guy in the story, but Hamantaschen on Purim bring us such joy. They help us to remember that we succeeded, that we were successful, that the Jews were saved by Queen Esther. And yes, we name our Hamantaschen for the bad guy, but think of the joy that they bring to all of us. And if you take that joy away from us, you are fulfilling the work of that bad guy. Amen." Exactly. And the souls looked at the rabbi. they didn't realize, and they started to cry. Oh, Rabbi, we're so sorry. She said, wait, stop crying. Too much salt is bad for Hamantaschen. But she said, you can fix this. You can fix this. Are you ready to go and jump into the Hamantaschen? And the Hamantaschen soul said, yes, yes, we're ready. We want to be part of the celebration. And the rabbi went outside and she flapped her apron towel, waved it in the air, and all the Hamantaschen bakers in town took their Hamantaschen and put them into the oven. And do you know what? They came out perfectly, just the right shape, just the most delicious fillings. Every single Hamantaschen that year was delicious. The most delicious celebration of them all. And they celebrated the holiday of Purim together in their town. And that is how that town always had the best Hamantaschen every single year.